Hey, everybody. I'd like to welcome you to another episode of Unpack Your Life with me, Jane Bond, and good morning to you all. I want to introduce you to a special guest. His name is Stephen Tallon, and he's with Keller Williams. You know, the first company I was ever with when I got my license in 2010, which I think is a great company. And Stephen is coming to us from Westchester, which is right outside of Philadelphia, where I grew up. So that's exciting. So,
Absolutely.
Stephen, tell us about yourself.
Oh, where to start, right? Serial entrepreneur, always was enamored with real estate. Finally, jumped into the game, buying and selling and starting to acquire rental properties in about 2007. Kind of progressed. We're like, hey, we're paying all these agents. We're paying to have access to the MLS. Why don't we just get our license? So I got,
Makes sense.
yeah, so I got licensed in March of 2015. So I'm coming up on my 10-year anniversary.
Oh,
So it's been a phenomenal experience. I'm coming up on my 16th wedding anniversary,
wow.
bride, Katie, and we have four young girls.
I read that. That's
It's
fantastic.
great. We go 14, 12, 9, and 7. So we are really in it right now. So,
You're like my dad. He had six girls.
oh, wow.
Hopefully, you stop there. Yeah,
Yeah,
I had
it's
five siblings, five sisters. Unbelievable, right?
phenomenal. Yeah, so we have a lot of fun. It's a busy life, but I can't imagine any other way.
Yeah, girl. I have another friend that's in Naples, actually. He has triplets,
Oof.
girls, and they turned out beautiful, and he's a really good friend of mine. He's English, Lawrence Middleton. He said, Jane, I'm always being so protective because they're beautiful and, they're
Mm,
girls. And I said, they'll be all right.
yeah,
Trust
I'm in both. These beautiful, young, smart, energetic, confident young women. So it's a
me. That's
fun
fantastic.
ride. It's a fun ride.
You should have a good time with them
Yeah.
as they're growing up, especially the part where they start meeting guys and going out and
Yeah,
yeah.
not looking forward to that, but we'll be okay. They're good kids. Good kids.
So, Stephen, of course, the show is called Unpack Your Life. So, we're going to jump right into it and talk about, what was the pivotal moment in time where you saw that it was important for you to start unpacking your life.
Yep. No, sounds great. So I love the even the topic of the show, unpack your life, right? I think too often in our world, and I know you're going to agree with this, is we just get into the race, right?
Yes.
We never pause. We never take inventory. We let our self-awareness just go away.
Hmm.
And
Especially in our business.
absolutely, we're pulled in so many different directions. We end up being not anymore, but in the beginning, you're a jack in the box
Yeah.
agent. Ball,
Mhm.
you drop everything, you forget what you're up from dinner, and you just go and you run. And there's benefit to that as far as service goes, but it's not really the way you should live your entire life.
Right.
So there's been a lot of pivotal moments. I think the biggest one for me was becoming self-aware. Again, almost 10 years ago, about the same time I became an agent, that certain things in my life weren't serving me in the way that they probably never served me, but I became more self-aware of it. And I actually removed alcohol from my life. As a young dad with two kids and a wife and trying to become the person that I always wanted to be. I say to my kids all the time, step into who you were supposed to be.
I love it.
Take all this stuff that you have and become yourself. Um, and I kind of had to do that for myself. And it's amazing. We won't go down like a full AA meeting or anything
Right,
here.
right, of course.
But and this is a Kellerism too. The one thing, right? We all have something that's hanging over our head that's kind of holding us back. Sometimes it's procrastination.
Right.
Sometimes overeating. Sometimes it's just denial.
Mhm.
Alcohol. And when I removed it, which wasn't an easy thing because we glorify it in our world, and I'm not saying it's a bad thing for everybody, but it's not for everyone.
No.
The, the key for me was never turning the switch on because I didn't really have an off switch. When it was on, it was on. I wasn't
That's
ever,
right.
but I was self-aware enough to know that it wasn't serving me. And what the incredible result of that was by unpacking that,
Hmm.
as we're talking about unpacking our life,
Yeah, of course.
was that by removing one thing, everything got better and easier, and everything got better and easier incredibly quick.
Wow.
All of a sudden, my business was off because what? I'm more productive. I'm aware.
Right.
I have all this extra time and money on my hands now, right? Because we're not out and we're not having, still enjoying life. And what became very in my face and it made me aware was I didn't need it. I didn't need it. I became a better person, a better dad, a better husband, a better friend, a better business person, a more successful real estate agent. I listened better. I
Mhm.
better with people. So it was really huge for me. And the trajectory of my career and my life and everything was just boom. And it's been an amazing ride. And coincidentally, it was right after I became an agent. Most people get in the business, they start drinking a lot more.
Yeah, because they're always out,
Right.
especially in Naples. Everybody's retired.
Yeah, world we live in. But it was a big thing for me. And it helped me unpack some other stuff as well, realizing what I really wanted, and how I wanted to be and how I wanted to be seen and how I wanted, the type of dad I wanted to be and husband and everything. So it was really cool. It was a really big moment. Obviously when you're, drinking for 25 years and you say, I'm not going to do that anymore. You got to kind of figure some stuff out. But I haven't looked back. I really haven't looked back, and I still see the sky's the limit. So it's good stuff.
That's beautiful. I'm not a big drinker, which is really interesting because I grew up in the bar business. That's what
Okay.
my dad had, bars and nightclubs. So I was there
Right. Sure.
and I watched a lot of bad things happen. And then
Hmm.
a lot of good things happened in our family because we were progressing and moving on. And my father was a very good, businessman.
Sure.
But as I've gotten older and, with my situation now, because I have completely unpacked my life, this is a journey that I wanted to happen for about 5 years, but I just didn't know how to break through. There's a thing, I'm a Ferryite, Mike Ferry, and he's always called it the breakdown before the breakthrough.
Huh?
And pretty much that's what I had. I had the breakdown before the breakthrough, and I found myself going into a dark hole. It wasn't alcohol, it was more of not knowing that I wasn't happy, even though I had everything that a girl could have
Sure.
that you think you're supposed to be happy with. And I realized, I wasn't being myself. And I didn't get, into my relationship till later on. And everything is fine. We're amicable, we're happy, friendly. But it wasn't even all about my relationship. I think it was more about just self awareness of where I wanted to be in my life at a certain time. And not that there was a time frame, it was just like, when are you going to make yourself happy? Because no one's going to make you happy. All these things and making the money, even as a real estate agent, because I climbed from selling $90,000 properties with copper torn out the walls because it
Right.
was 2008, 2010, and the market didn't turn back until around 12.
Right.
And Naples was one of the first markets to come back to selling $25 million condos.
Yep.
So I climbed really fast. Well, once I had a coach,
Right.
which
Right.
that's what I had to read. The book maybe 3 times, Gary Keller's book maybe 3 times, to keep my head straight. I think I read that book 5 times and gifted it maybe 3. But
Sure.
yeah, that's so important to having that mind shift in your head in reference to something like alcohol. And just recently here, I was telling a friend of mine, I was like, you know what? I don't like when I drink, I drink and I'm a 2, 3, maybe 4 drink person. Once I'm 4 drinks in, I'm done. I can feel myself swaying.
Right.
And I said to them, I said to him, I said, I don't think I like it. I said, I think I want to try pulling all the way back and then moderation. And he said to me, why don't you just stop?
Right.
He said, you're happy when you do it. And I said, it always it brings back a lot of bad memories
Okay.
once I'm coming down from it, because when I'm out, I'm like, woo, let's go. We're partying. As my friend says, hands up in the air, Jane. And
Right.
I just realized, and it's funny that we're talking about this because when I read your answers, I said to myself, wow, that's like a wake up call. And, the universe sends you messages.
Often.
And right,
Right.
right.
Yep.
And
Yep.
here it is, I'm talking about unpack your life, and you're like maybe I don't know, the fifth person, sixth person in, and boom, it was right there. And I knew I was interviewing you today. And when I read over everything, I was like, you know what? This is so real. This is in my face.
Right.
And this is something I just don't want to do, don't need it anymore. It's fun,
Yep.
but the consequences, and now you're older, the recovery time is horrible. The consequences can be bad, like you said, on your business. I don't think you're present or clearly present the
Correct.
next day. You definitely can forget things, and you're in a fog basically for a few days, and
Yep.
it takes away from a lot of things. So
It's
I definitely agree with you. That is a pivotal moment, and that's a wake up call. And a lot of people don't get that,
right.
so you kind of opened my eyes when I saw, because it was the first question and I saw it and I was like, wow, okay, this might be, a message from the universe to me, because I'm always asking it to answer me.
Right.
So,
It's
that's really interesting. And I'm glad that you took the time to share that vulnerability, because a lot of people won't share things like that because, you know, they don't want people to know that.
judged or looked at, and in the world we live in the society we live in, we glorify it. And I say to people all the time, like, if you walk into a bar and you're not drinking, you
Right.
well, why aren't you drinking? But like, you don't walk into a bar and be like, well, why aren't you doing heroin tonight? Like,
Right.
nobody has that, like,
Yeah.
but if you walk in, you're not drinking, it's kind of it. But the world is kind of changing. I like set the trend 10 years ago, quitting drinking. Everybody's sober curious now. And there's all kinds of non-alcoholic mocktails and stuff like that. So
Yeah, the
I
new
don't,
generation is a little different,
you know,
but you can't knock them. They are different. They
totally.
have access, much more access than we did, and
Absolutely.
yeah, they're a little different, but they're smart. The wisdom hasn't come yet because that takes age and experience. Um,
Correct.
but as far as business and marketing, these kids are smart today,
Yeah,
and
they
I'm
got,
like, wow, they're moving,
yep.
faster than we ever thought about, and it's only because they have access. You know,
Correct. Well, I look at it, and I say this all the time as we talk about like the speed, the way things are moving, right? I mean, 25 years ago, there was barely a cell phone. I mean, people had cell phones, but it was like you had a pager in 1998. You had like,
I
and
I know.
I had a pager running around Philly, in my first job, and they're like, oh, I got to find a payphone, like. And you think like 25 years goes so fast. You think like you go from like the first little Nokia,
Oh
and now
my God.
run by a 2.5 by 4 foot device that we carry in our pocket, where we can have access to everything.
The world.
The world is at our fingertips. I mean, we can, I kiddingly my kids will be like, what's that? I'm like, well, use the Google, and again, I'm more advanced than that, but they get a kick out of it. It's like, well, use the Google. We were at the Sixers game last night, and I took 3 of my 4 girls to the Sixers game last night for the home opener, and a question came up, and I'm like, well, Google it. Why are you asking?
Ooh, right.
So, but they're smart. They're smart. Experience will come, as we both is.
Mhm.
Time will teach us everything we need to know.
Absolutely.
Can't really speed it up. I mean, it's just you have to go through some stuff.
Oh, in that sense, no, you can't speed it up. You definitely have. I remember telling my parents years ago, when they would say things to me, I would go, Mom, it'd be nice if you let me experience this on my own. And she
Mhm.
said, I'm just trying to save you the agony and pain.
Right.
I go, well, maybe I need that, because failure is something that's not looked at in our generation. It
Yep.
wasn't looked at as failure. It was looked at as something that was going to make you move up and move a little faster and learn how to navigate a little easier, instead
For,
of
for sure.
just saying, I'm done, it's over. We
Yeah.
don't do that in our generation. We don't do that. We get up and we start fighting again,
Correct.
because that's what we know.
Yeah.
These guys, I don't know about them. They they lay down after a while because they're not used to it. But we fought for so many things.
Yeah, we really did. We had to grind through it, and these
Yeah.
kids, I'll just go do something else, and like, no, like, hang in there, like, let's go.
Mhm. Hang in there. That is so true.
Figure it out. Take the
Yeah.
failure lesson, not as a true failure.
Hmm.
The old Failing Forward book. I love that book. Like, nothing's a failure if you learn from it. It's if
That's
you
right. So
do
you
it,
always win.
do it. Right.
You learn,
Yep.
right? Or
Yep.
you win.
Exactly.
Well, you never fail.
Never fail. Yep. Learn, win, continue to take the steps. One,
Exactly, exactly, exactly.
pretty cool.
With that being said, this is a great segue into my next question.
Yeah.
So, after all of that, how did you find how did you find to innovate again after that?
Yeah. So I actually just had another conversation around this. So I give my parents a lot of credit, right?
Mhm.
They instilled a lot. I'm one of 5. You're one of 6. So bigger families,
Right?
2 brothers, 2 sisters. And I don't know how they did it. And I'm trying to do it with my girls. And I think I'm doing a good job of instilling self esteem in them, right? So for whatever reason, I never needed alcohol to be like who I am. In fact, I became a version of myself.
which
So
is great.
I'm actually still the same exact person, even better. Like even my friends will be like, dude, you're as much fun as you ever were. And now you get us home safe and we don't have to get you home ever again.
Right.
So in
And you're excited about life.
100%, and we were just at a wedding down in Atlantic City, which was a phenomenal time a couple weeks ago. And I woke up after being in the casino till 3:30. I woke up at 8 o'clock and I rolled over, and I have these moments once in a while. And I rolled over and I'm like, I don't know how my buddies are getting out of bed this morning because I'm tired, I'm exhausted, and I feel great. I mean, I felt, my clarity and all. And I'm like, I'm going to have to drag them out, get them their coffee, get them home and everything. So, but as far as going through that and reinventing myself, I don't think reinvention is the right word.
Mm-hmm.
I was there. I wanted to get better, and I just was able to do things better, more efficiently, more present, as we discussed.
More present, of course.
Don't get me wrong. Listen, being 100% present 100% of the time is not all it's cracked up to be.
No, it's not. No, it's
But
not.
but I wouldn't trade it for the world.
Right.
For that 1% of being able to be, there's other ways to do that. Go get a massage and disengage.
Yeah, absolutely. There's other ways to enjoy yourself besides the alcohol. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that question, I want to digress a little bit. That question was based on innovation within your industry, and what motivates you to keep pushing the boundaries since you have given up all of that.
Yeah, I appreciate that. So, as far as our industry, much like technology, right, we're moving so fast. There's outside influence, as we know. We won't go down that path of all the changes that have occurred in our world in the last
Exactly.
days, right? So you either adapt and overcome, or you're gone.
100%.
We're going to see a lot of people in our business gone. They're gone.
It's a funny thing, Stephen. I hear that a lot when things happen, but it never seems like they leave. It seems like they come faster and faster and more.
Right. I don't know if they don't leave, or I just think they might get replaced real quick. It's still an incredible business where if you truly, it's a business you can get in with really low entry barrier
Right.
was higher. But the fact is that it's an incredible business where you don't need a college degree, you don't need a PhD, you don't need a doctorate. Boom. If you could talk to people and you're motivated and you can stay motivated on a daily basis, you got to make as much money as you want.
There's no ceiling. That's what I love about this business.
What people don't realize is that if you don't do anything,
it doesn't work.
So I do think that people will peel off. Maybe they're being replaced, to your point, as quick as peeling off. But when change happens, you're either ahead of it or behind it, right? Kind of never stuck, right? You're either growing or you're dying, in my opinion.
Right.
So if you're not adapting and growing with all the changes, which I had to do in 2015, and I'm continuing right now, especially to push the envelope and create a niche in our business, a different way to do business. I believe, and I think this is getting to the root of the question, is my entire business is based on people that I know, like, and trust and feel the same way about me. We're not a paid advertiser. We're not buying leads. We work with people that we serviced, giving them a phenomenal experience, which I want to be the experience. Real estate can become very transactional. Click on a button, take a video, or probably boom, boom, boom. For most people that we deal with, and you'll back me up on this as well, it's probably the biggest investment of their life. It's where they're
100%
in a financial investment, right? This is where people are deciding to raise their children,
right?
A part of the community. Like my girls are getting older. When they look back, I want them to be like, "Oh my God, we grew up in such a great place. We were involved. We saw our parents involved and giving back in the community and this and that." So it's not a transaction. It's an experience. So we like to guide our team up here in the Philadelphia marketplace. We really want to give our buyers and sellers experience, never feeling like they're a number or just the transaction. Now, of course, we have to close it to get paid, and everybody's happy. But
you got to close the deal.
But I like to talk about making our buyers and sellers the heroes of their own story.
Fantastic.
I
heard that. Expand on that a little bit.
Yeah. So what I like to do is a lot of agents and you've interviewed plenty, and you work in multiple markets, so you've seen all kinds of personalities from, the 2-year-old hot shot in Manhattan to the
Yeah.
80-year-old in Naples who's I've been selling real estate for 65
It
years.
still does extremely well.
Exactly. So I think a lot of times agents start to get some success. They want to tout how good they are.
This is they forget that it's not about them.
Not us.
Yeah.
Even though we are the heroes, don't get
Yes.
me wrong, because from the time we go under contract to there's a lot of stuff that goes on
Work. That's the work.
to know about.
Right.
Okay. We want to guide them in such a way and provide such value and insight to our clients that even though we're maybe helping them with the decision, ultimately it's their decision. And we want them to feel that they have all the power as we walk through the steps to get the closing. And at closing, we want to congratulate them for doing a great job.
Yes.
You were amazing, Mr. Seller. You took all the advice and you got your house ready, and you used all of our contractors, you used our stagers and our landscapers and all of our title and insurance people. And it was such a great experience for me to work with you because you did such a good job.
And they have to be a team player also.
Totally.
Yeah. But then you have your savvy clients
Yep.
that realize that the agent isn't on par,
Mm-hmm.
and they want to quit the team right away.
Oh, yeah.
So they become a part of that team that you have also to make
Absolutely.
sure that transaction gets over the net.
100%.
I don't know why. In Naples, I've always gotten, and even my referrals, they've always been the hard deals. I don't know why. Maybe because I'm a little more cognizant of people and their emotions and how they feel about certain things. And I'm a little more mature than normal when I go to see people. And I notice, especially in the upper echelon price point,
Mhm.
there's something that those clients are looking for when you show up.
For sure.
And I'll go back to Naples because Naples is such a senior market as far as retirees are concerned, with very, very large pockets.
Yep.
Those guys are captains of industries that have decided to make Naples their home. So they're used to talking to people like us because we actually work for them and with them.
Yep.
It depends on how you come across. Most of my clients, I work with them.
Yep.
I
100%.
don't work for them. But a lot of people, a lot of agents, they're not mature enough to deal with that level of clientele. And
Right.
I know for me, I'm not giving some 28-year-old kid my $5 million house to sell.
Right.
Not only that, he hasn't done anything in his life, and he's not even worldly enough.
Right.
So how is he going to make sure my transaction is going to get over the net? I need somebody to hold my hand. And I've done this a few times,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm spending a lot of money and I don't want any mistakes. And I know if I do it by myself, I'm going to have a mistake.
Right.
That's why we have attorneys. That's why we have title companies. That's why we have agents. We need them to hold our hands to make sure we walk through this transaction comfortably, and not the agent that's thinking about the end of the game, which is the commission.
Yep.
Because sometimes that commission doesn't come.
Can honestly say, and I teach our team, and I do a lot of mentoring in the office and to investors, I've never once, hand to God, calculated the commission.
No. 100.
I don't do it because if we don't finish the job, it's not there anyway. So I never, Now, again, we know if it's $5 million listing, we're going to do well on it. But guess what? Our philosophy is continue to put our clients and their needs first, and everything around, and everything will be fine for us. Everything will be fine as long as we continue to make them the hero and put their needs first. I go as far as to tell my clients sometimes, listen, if I ever say something that might feel like pushback or offending, which I won't, but I put it out there, just remember that I'm continuing to put your needs way ahead of mine.
Absolutely.
Why I may make a statement, because it's my job to stay even keel through this. It's an emotional process when you're selling your family home that you've lived for 40 years, or you're upgrading your dream home. It's an emotional deal when kids involved, or family, or parents, whatever it might be. It's my job to stay here. So I'm always going to be logical.
Absolutely.
you in the best position to succeed through this experience, as we say. So
No, that's so true because the client has to feel like they're safe in your hands
correct.
as far as their, decision is made when they choose you, whether that's to sell or to purchase. And purchase is even more so.
Mm-hmm.
Selling, you can get an attorney and he can look over everything, but the purchasing is even more so because you have to make sure, and especially with new construction, anything over a few $1,000,000, you're looking at. I had one client, I'll never forget, it blew me away. I mean, well, he wasn't mine, he was on the other side of the deal. I had the seller. He walked through, a $20 million condo and said to me, well, we're not going to have an inspection. I'm just going to walk through and open every drawer. I mean, it was brand new,
Sure.
totally gutted and renovated.
Sure.
And I'm standing there going, oh my God, you
Right.
could not be my customer because I would demand that you have an inspection.
Yeah, this isn't a $50,000
It doesn't matter what the price point is.
crazy. Yeah.
And then at the end of it, once we were about to close, they had some issues.
Mm.
But the pushback was, you guys decided not to have an inspection.
Sure.
So this is all cash, close in 10 days. We don't have any hiccups here. This is over.
Right. We're done here.
Yeah, we're done. And then they were really upset about press because it was the largest, most expensive condo ever sold in the history of Naples on the beach.
Okay.
And it was so much press that they were so angry, the buyers, because they felt as though their $3,000 coffee maker didn't work.
Right.
Which was really interesting. Who has a $3,000 coffee maker? I don't want to shame the devil here, but I mean, I drink instant Folgers. Sorry, guys. I like it good to the last drop. That's me. I'm that girl. So that was really interesting to me because, and that's the agent on the other side of that should have said, it's no way we're buying this place without an inspection.
Right. Right.
And that's where things happen. You think about things, you're like, wow, okay. And I'm not the agent. I said this yesterday on a podcast. I'm not the agent that is so excited and I'm buying you your dream home. I'm not that agent. I'm the agent that's going to make sure the home you choose, we're going to get. Period.
Yeah.
I'm not the one that's, oh, I'm so happy. No, I don't do that. I just don't do that. I don't buy gifts either because I don't think that's appropriate. I like experiences, and I learned way, early in my career that buying gifts didn't mean anything to them because I barely knew my clients.
Right.
So for me, it was about going out to dinner afterwards, having whatever you want, drink some of them, they drink $2,000 bottles of wine, but you sell $15 million property, who cares?
Not a big deal, right?
Yeah, hey, I don't care. So you're sitting there and all of a sudden they're drinking and laughing and talking with you and boom, Jane, you know what? I forgot about my best friend, my friend who had a property and they might be selling it. Let me put you in touch with them. And all I'm thinking in my mind is, boom, now I'm spending 4 hours with them, having dinner, drinking, talking, finding out much more about them.
Absolutely.
If you don't know your client, the only thing you do know is that you're buying this property or you're selling their property. You're not really engaging with them until you're 3/4 of the way done.
Right.
Now you're friendly, but don't let a hiccup happen.
You got that right.
If a hiccup happened, you're pushed back 10 steps. Even though you're lovely, because people, they're emotional.
Sure.
They're emotional. And that brings me to my next question. What does authenticity mean to you when it comes to unpacking in a general sense?
There's no substitution for it. You have to be who you are all the time. There's no show here, right? So I think sometimes, and I've learned this in my life, I carry myself, I got crazy, like spiky hair at 50 years old, whatever, like.
Don't worry, I had big hair for a few days ago.
Wear a custom jacket or whatever, like at first glance be like, this guy's all flash, right? Yeah. But when you get to the root of it, it doesn't take long for people to know that I'm there for them. They only have to see me coach one softball game or a game to figure out who I really am and what I'm really all about. And that doesn't change regardless of the situation.
Well,
I,
who said you can't have style, Stephen?
oh no, listen, I,
Even at 50, who said you can't have style, you know?
I'm so happy I got this crazy head of hair, and I am due for a haircut, Jane. Don't get me wrong, but it's kind of my trademark. You know, it's like the silver fox is with some
That's
of my.
okay. Yeah. Yeah,
Uh,
I get that. But
so
hey, listen, you can be, I mean, as long as you show up
yep,
as you are and who you are,
all the time.
it shines. You
Yep.
know, it definitely shines.
Yeah.
And, for me, I felt like I was being an imposter for quite some time, and I just couldn't handle it anymore.
Yeah.
And I didn't understand what unpacking really meant until it happened.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm ready to shed everything to
Yeah.
live a truly authentic life and be Jane Bond.
Yeah.
Like I knew who I was prior to this,
Sure.
but now I don't know who I am because I'm kind of lost in somebody else's life with other people that I probably would
In
not
our,
even have talked to.
yeah, in our world, I think that's easy in our business, right? As you're trying to be, whether and again, it's just it's not true to say don't compare yourself to people. It's impossible not to do that, right?
Right.
Very hard not to do that, I should say. And as you get experience, it gets easier not to do
Mhm.
that. You want to chase the guy who's first on the board in your office or area or in your city or in the country, whatever it might be. What's he doing? Well, if that doesn't fit who you are, don't do it.
Mhm.
Like whatever. I don't have a particular example of that, but like if the top guy is a scumbag
Right.
getting business in ways that you would never do, but that's how you get. Are you going to do it just because he's doing it because you want to beat him? No. How are you going to sleep at night? So I think when it comes to authenticity, you have to know who you are, which comes back to our self awareness. Who are
Right.
you? Who are you? Who the hell are you? You
Right.
know, are you the same person? Like, obviously, we grow in our lives, but like
Mhm.
at 12 years old, 10 years old, like you kind of know who you are, right? You kind of have like, you're going to grow
Well,
and
your personality is there. Yeah.
there, like your core values are there.
Mhm.
Um, Not to say they can't change and evolve, but you have to stay who you are and true to your heart because let me tell you, it makes life a lot easier. If,
It really does. And you do, like you said, everyone says you can't compare yourself to anybody else. You got to just be yourself. Well, how do you measure that?
yep.
How do you measure being yourself when you're taught that you got to figure out who you want to be
Hmm.
when you're younger?
Yep.
In our age bracket, you got to figure out. You need to find out what you want to be. You need to figure out. Go to college. Sometimes you don't want to go to college.
Right.
What do you want to be? That's a huge question to ask a young person. What do you want to be in life?
Hmm.
And when I meet young people that know exactly what they want or believe they do, they want to be doctors, they want to be, an AI person,
Hmm.
you're like, wow.
Yeah.
How did you figure that out? Like,
Yeah.
what made you know that that's who you wanted to be?
Hmm.
And, I had a friend who passed away 5 years ago. And I remember saying to him years ago, I said, you know what's so strange? I said, I'm so envious of you most of the time. I said, because you know exactly who you are. Like I come to your house, which is interesting because I knew he loved his music, and everybody that came to the house knew he was going to have on amazing music, no matter what.
Right.
He loved traveling. His big thing was to go and ski with the boys sometimes, and I was like, wow. I said, I don't have any hobbies. Like I would think about that all the time, and I would say, well, who are you, Jane? Well, you like to read. You always have a how-to book in your bag. People would identify you that way. Um,
Right.
you've done so many things. Like, what defines you? And I was
Right.
always envious of that because I wasn't sure. And even now, today, like I'm always, and I think it's that burning thing underneath my belly. It's called ambition
Hmm.
and drive. I just
Right.
always are into everything. I'm creative and I'm a businesswoman at the same time. And those can really clash
They
or
can.
they can
Yeah.
merge properly. In a sense, I
Right.
have merged them because my business was entertainment management. And that's how
Okay.
I was able to leverage myself and market myself properly within our business because I was doing things that people weren't doing that I knew of coming from New York City, and was
Sure.
able to climb faster. But even today, I think about that. I go, who are you, Jane? What do you do? Well,
Mhm.
you're an entrepreneur. That's who you are. You're an innovator. You like to create.
And Jane, isn't that a great question to ask yourself, though?
Oh, 100%.
I don't think people ask themselves that
No,
enough.
I
I really don't. It goes back to how we started with being self-aware. Like, I just don't think, I think people continue to try to be who they think people want them to be,
100%.
as opposed to being who you are. And I think there's nothing wrong with checking in with yourself every once in a while. Who am I? Am I happy with who I am right now? Am I happy with what I'm doing? Am I content with what I'm
Hmm.
doing? Again, still being
Yeah,
ambitious.
yeah,
Like it like be content doesn't mean that you're
right.
done. Like, be content just means that, you know what, I'm at peace. I'm working hard. I'm passionate about what I'm
Hmm.
doing. I want to continue to strive for these goals, my 1, 3, 5 goals, whatever it is. But being content and happy with who you are doesn't mean that you're not some ambitious, like, go-getter. I think it's a tough balance for some people because they don't ever check in with themselves and unpack themselves.
No, and I found that very interesting because I definitely had to unpack myself. And I had to ask
Yeah.
myself, what are you doing? Is this what you want? Is this where you want to be in the next 10 years? And,
Right.
when I answered those questions, I was like, okay, it's time for you to just like really check out because not that you have to reinvent yourself, you
Right.
have to be able to live freely with who you believe you are. And if you can't live freely on your own terms, you can't grow. And
Get that right.
I
Yeah.
had stopped growing. I had shut down. And I said, I had a podcast prior to this. It was called From Execution to Excellence.
Hmm.
And I did that podcast maybe 4 years ago. And the people that would come on, everybody that would come on would cry, which was interesting
Hmm.
because they realized the climb they had to go through, the journey, and one person said to me, Jane, everyone sees everything from the top view. You never see
Correct.
things from the bottom when we're climbing. And I said, you know what? You're so right because no one saw me when I was at the bottom of my shower, letting water run over
Yep.
my head, and I'm crying, asking God, to help me figure things out. How can I make this better? And then they would look at me. That was you? Of course that. I even wrote a book and talked about it. I mean, how to land
Yeah.
your first $1 million listing because that's how difficult it was
Yeah.
moving to a new place like Naples, figuring it all out. Didn't know anybody. Didn't golf. Didn't didn't play
Right.
tennis. Knew nothing about
Right.
pickleball. And,
Right.
and I think it was some one other thing named mahjong. I said, "What the hell is mahjong? Who does that?" I'm an avid runner, and it was too damn hot to run. So it
Right.
was really interesting moving there. So figuring out who I am now I think is one of my greatest feats because it allows me to be Jane and always be
Yeah.
Jane and not be anybody else. If I want to walk down the street and throw my hands up in the air because I'm happy and everybody's looking, so what? That's how I
Right.
feel. Sometimes I walk down the street with my earphones on and I'm singing out loud and I don't care. And people are looking at me going, "Oh." And I just smile and go, "Hey, how you doing?" Because to me, life is to be enjoyed. Life is to be happy and not to be sad sitting around somewhere trying to figure out, what am I going to do with this person that I can't identify anymore? And that black hole, it was like
Yeah.
closing. And I had to say, you know,
Yeah.
this is what it is. It's unpacking my life to figure this out. And that's where the
Yep.
concept came from. I said to someone one day, I said, you know what? I haven't unpacked my life. I moved here 16 years ago and I didn't unpack. And I said,
Right.
what does that mean? Why is it that everything is still stuck and in
Right.
boxes? Why didn't I unpack my life? Why didn't I stay Jane when I came here? You know,
Right.
and
Yeah.
it's just interesting looking in the mirror now and saying, wow, okay, there you are. And I have
It
those
was smart.
moments, Stephen. I have those moments when I looked in the mirror and I couldn't identify myself, and that was scary to me. I mean, of course, getting older, I didn't know, but I didn't see the crow's feet coming so fast. But no, I was definitely looking in the mirror often saying, "Who are you? You don't even look like you." And I had this picture of myself when I was in college up in Pace University, really happy, just got there. My hands are here and I'm smiling, and I'm excited. And I'm like, how do I get her back? And that was
Right.
in my bathroom, and I kept saying, I need her. So
Right.
every time I looked, I would come home, I would go out, do makeup, do hair, go out, have dinner, drinks, and I would come back and I would get really sad because I would always look at that picture and say, you know, I know I can't be you, you're my 18-year-old self, but I want to be able to identify that smile and those eyes. And I thought, wow, I can't find her. So I started searching and I started speaking out. And I started saying
Mhm.
things from my heart and that were coming up from underneath, my soul. It's like my spirit was rising again. And then I started seeing this other person in the mirror. And I took a picture one day and I went, there you are. I said, that's you. I'm looking for you. And then I remember saying it out loud on a podcast. Oh my God, I miss me. I miss her.
Yeah.
So I was able to find myself again. And then I scraped that whole palette clean. I changed my hair. I, for 20 years, I looked like this person. And I said to myself, no. And now I look in the mirror and I go, there you go. That, there
Jane's
she
back.
is.
I'm
That's the person. So
back.
I unpacked that person to be here with you today to talk about this because a lot of people, and in my case, a lot of women are afraid. And
Hmm.
I don't have kids, so that part was easier. But there are women
Hmm.
and men that are afraid to walk away and just say, I need to start my life differently. Not that I want to get rid of
Sure.
this life. I just
Right.
need to figure out who I am, and then maybe I can embrace that again. But right now I
Right.
can't embrace that because that's not who I am. And I'm not going to turn down my light for anyone because my light is bright. Nobody puts baby in a corner. So that's how you have to look at it. My light is bright. So it's kind of like giving up alcohol. It's giving up that
Mhm.
old self.
Give it up some old,
Right.
right, an old self, whatever,
You need them.
whatever it
You
was.
want to be present. And now I'm
Yeah.
fully present. And I see the
Yep.
smile and I'm like, oh my God, I remember that smile. It's a different smile. It's a different
Right.
mindset. And the shift really, really helps. When you have a mindset shift on life and going through your
Mhm.
journey with certain people aren't for every season of your life. You have
Right.
to peel it off. Like, this is the fall. The fall is absolutely beautiful. What are we gearing up for? And people think summer is the season. No, summer isn't a season. Summer is the end of what you have built. Now it's time to
Right.
work and build again.
Yep.
And that's the beauty
Yeah.
of unpacking, I believe, for anyone.
Yeah.
And authenticity, like I said, personal growth is huge. A lot of people think personal growth is this cliche, it's this, um, what do you call it, this feel good concept. Really
Yeah.
isn't, because if you think about it, of the people in our lives, like huge luminaries, personal growth meant everything to them. And I always bring up
Yep.
Steve Jobs. Personal growth meant everything to him, that he missed out on the happiness of his life. He grew to
Yeah.
where he wanted to be, this giant, and he gave us everything of him.
Of
But when
course.
it came down to it, no one could give him what he needed. And that's the unfortunate
Right.
thing. But, the things that he stated, about material things and understanding of life, And another thing, your why. Gary Keller is huge on your why. And I'm
Yep.
shifting back and forth now. Gary Keller, going
Yeah.
to him.
That's okay.
Gary Keller is huge on your why. A lot of people think that's a cliche. Your why is where you start. Because if
Yep.
you don't know why you're doing something or why you're in that place, you will never figure it out. And that's the biggest thing,
Absolutely.
I think. And that was the biggest thing I learned from Keller Williams. What's your why? Why are you doing this? What,
Your
yeah.
passion.
What's your
Yeah.
purpose of it?
Yeah.
I understand my
Yep.
purpose now, but I didn't. And real estate,
Sure.
for me, is the only industry in our world, to me, is where you can go anywhere you want to go and do whatever you want to
Yeah.
do and make as much money as you want. There's no other industry like it. You
Agreed.
just have
The other thing I really love about it is the more people I help, the better I'm going to, we continually get to help people solve problems on a daily
servitude.
basis.
Yeah,
It's great. It's
it comes
phenomenal
back to you.
to
And when you are in the
yep.
service industry and you live a life of servitude, the abundance that comes back to you is amazing. And not only to you, to your family, you know, because you
100%.
are helping people, depending on how you want to help them, it just really depends. What was
Definitely.
the time in your life that you had that gut feeling that you had to switch up things and you trusted your gut to move?
Yeah, I've had a few of those, that's for sure. A couple big ones. One of which we already
Mhm.
touched upon, right? So we won't go back
Right.
down
It's
there.
okay.
We won't go back down that rabbit hole, but there's been a couple gut ones, and they weren't always right. Right, my gut was right, but my decision wasn't
Mhm.
right. And I had a time where we were really growing our business in the real estate side before I was an agent, and an opportunity presented itself. What looked to be a great
Oh,
opportunity
yeah.
presented itself.
Yeah,
You know how that
absolutely.
goes, right? I who met a guy, and all of a sudden, this is going to happen if we just do this and do that. Da, 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 da,
And
da,
you're
da, da,
desperate,
da.
and you're desperate somewhat. Right.
Right, because I'm still in a mode at the time where I'm chasing what I think I want, right? Turns out it's not really what I want, but I'm this close. If all these dominoes just fall in a perfect line, I'm gonna have everything I ever wanted. My family's gonna have everything I've ever wanted. I'm gonna be able to do everything I ever wanted, and I'm gonna be this guy. I'm gonna be the guy, right?
The
The gut says you're a moron.
guy.
Going to work. This is not the answer you've been looking
Mhm.
for. It might look like the
Fix.
quick
Right.
boom, the quick thing, which usually
No.
isn't right. The gut says, don't get involved in this. But the mind, the ego, the quick dopamine of this can cut out years of
Yes.
hard work, you
Oh,
jump
when
in and
I've
do it.
done it a couple times.
And I've done it and got
Yeah.
completely burnt, and got knocked down. So the 10 steps forward, one bad decision, even though your gut said, absolutely
Do it.
don't do this. No, this is going to work out. You let your ego and the
Yeah.
hope's a dangerous word, a great word, but a dangerous word. You hope it works, knowing that it wasn't, knocked you back
Oh,
50 steps. So that was a bad way, on the gut side, right? And actually, one of the reasons I became an agent was kind of rebuilding from that bad decision, where it was like, I really know the real estate game. We took a
mhm.
big loss. We got knocked down. What am I going to do? Like, how am I going to reestablish, rebuild my
Mhm.
life? And it was literally at that time, my gut said, you're great with people. You love servicing people. You love this industry. You know it already. Get involved in the service end, and you're going to be great. And
Get to it.
I jumped in, skills, and here we are a decade
Mhm.
later, and all the pieces have fallen into place, and it's
Yeah, it's
awesome.
about committing to it. You have to
100%.
commit to what you're doing. If you're not committed, you're not going to get up early. And I try to tell these
Nope.
agents, listen, you need all the stamina and endurance you could ever imagine to do this job. You need to get up early,
Oh, yeah.
go to the gym or gym in your house, whatever you
Yep.
have. You need that
Yep.
just to stay up on things, to have the energy, and you need
Yep.
to stay excited. And that part of your day should be
Yep.
the hardest part of your day, just getting that in, because that's what's going to give you that boost to take on the world for the day. And if you're not doing that,
And what you're saying is the
yeah,
recipe, right? However many agents you've interviewed on your wonderful podcast here, they're all doing some sort of
you have
workout in the
to.
morning. They're either reading 10 pages, or they're,
Role playing.
this is the recipe
That's
for
right.
success, right? We don't have to reinvent it. Everybody has their little version of it, but the
All
pieces
the
are all
clues.
there. All the clues have been left for us. Just go pick. and run with it.
And especially if you're with a company like Keller Williams, Gary's still there. I mean, you ask
Still there. I
for
him. I'm like, what the hell's wrong with you? Why are you still doing this? But he's just, again, he has the passion. He has the passion for it. So it's great. So no, gut's usually right. My gut's never been wrong. I can't say I always follow. Now I
right.
always follow it. But when you're young and you think you know more than your parents, more than your gut, more than whoever's telling you yes, no, maybe, but it has proven itself. It's usually right. So I like to follow my
I
gut.
always tell people, life is too short. You can't walk around, making apologies for who you think you are, because that doesn't
Right.
work.
Yeah.
After a while, it
Isn't
just
that the
doesn't work. I used to tell my nephews, I said, you're 22 now. I said, in a minute, in a blink of an eye, you'll be 32. I said, you won't be able to use these same excuses. I said, do what you
Yep.
need to do now. And they used to always say to me, oh my
Yeah.
God, Aunt Jane, you always lecture us. I said, because you need someone to tell you. And not only that, you're men. Your parents dote over you
Right.
because you're good looking and, you're sweet. I said, but I'm your aunt. I'm going
Sure.
to tell you the real hard knocks.
Let me tell
Yeah,
it like it
you
is.
want to be out here. You think you're good looking. You want to hang out with all these girls and, and show them who. I said, but you're not doing anything. I said, the girl
Right.
you're going to want is not going to want you because she's going to be doing what she's supposed to do. And you're gonna not you
Yep.
won't be able to figure out why she doesn't like you because you have all the other things.
Right.
But that doesn't work.
Right. But my dad said I was good looking and everything was going to be
Yeah.
fine. Da, 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 da. Well, girlfriend's over here creating something
Right?
for herself, looking at you, going, "Yeah, damn, you're
Yeah.
fine, but you haven't done a damn thing
Okay.
in your
So
life."
you're boring.
You know, I'll take my guy over here who's a 5, but he's got his shit. You know? All
He's
right,
only
you
five
know,
nine, but okay.
fine.
Yeah.
It's all good. It's
Yeah,
all
but
good.
it's
Uh,
interesting how, things work out today. And I think about people like Gary Keller and them. They've been out here for a long time teaching and sharing what it
yeah,
means to show up. And these guys, they're
yeah,
not there, for their health. That's their passion. That's their purpose in life already. Of course it's their business and it makes them unbelievable money, but it has to be a
of course.
drive behind that. I listened to Robert Refkin, his story. These stories,
Yeah,
these journeys that they have been through, there's some credence to it. And you have to pick up the clues and follow them. And people like myself and we're mentors. You mentor these young agents and you see what they're doing wrong. And it's because they're not committed. They're not committed to the service. And once you
yep,
commit to the service, like you said, your business takes off. And you have to be able to know,
yep,
it's another good thing about the $1 million agent. I love it, the millionaire agent. The thing is, you have to show up and you have to do the work. And the first thing you said to me was, we're a small team and, we just got this together. And your first hire is your admin. You have to
yep,
understand because if you're not in order, no one else is going to be in order.
100%. Yeah,
Yeah,
you can't.
they're only as good as you train them to be. So that's your first hire.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
need the right.
And so I know these agents, they don't learn the proper lessons because they quit, because
Yep.
just a couple of years back, it was all about $1 million listings. What do we got? Got to get that million
Hmm.
dollar listing. Once I get a $1 million listing, I'm a $1 million agent. No, it doesn't work that way.
Right.
There's
Right. Right.
consistency with that and showing up and not only getting that $1 million listing, guess what? You got to sell it.
You got to
Getting it
perform.
is one thing and selling it is another. And the second part of that is getting it, you must have the money to market it and keep it on the market
Correct.
to make sure it gets
Yep.
sold. So they
Yep.
skip lesson 2 and 3. you know,
Right. Well, that's the gratification world we
yeah,
live in, right?
instant
You know,
gratification. This is
you know, and I talk about with our phones, right? We have
Mhm.
everything, right? Like in 5th grade, I had to go to the library to go to an encyclopedia, look
Yeah,
it up. Now it's like, Siri, what's the capital of whatever? And it's instant. Everything's instant. So I think it's tough for this next generation as we try to teach them the work ethic and what it takes to be successful because with the advancements in technology and everything, we've given them a lot
yes,
of shortcuts. And I think that they'll be able to use those shortcuts to get them where they need to go. And yes, it will help them get there. But at the end of the day, nothing will ever substitute putting the work in, being authentic, being the person you want to be, and working
Yes.
incredibly
And the
hard to get.
experience of it too is gratifying. Just knowing
Yeah,
that you made things happen, you know, for
yeah,
me, that's the excitement,
yeah,
just making
definitely.
sure that deal gets over the net because boom, I did it, It wasn't about them, it was about me making sure I did what I had to do and getting that over the net because now we all win. And I
That's
always
right.
tell them, you need to speak to other agents. We're not your
Yeah,
enemy. Just because, we've
right,
grown this much and you're still here. We're the I was where you are. Somebody helped me. I got into somebody's ear. I sat in front of someone and asked a lot of questions, you know. And I wasn't some young person either. So think about it when you're in your 40s and you're doing that. You've
right.
lived your life pretty much. You're living. You're an adult.
Yeah,
But now you have to kind of sit down and say, I'm not doing something right. How do I do this?
right,
I remember sitting in the
right.
bullpen at Keller Williams for 6 months before I made my first deal. But that bullpen
Yeah,
taught me to listen to all the people that were doing extremely well and not make the
yeah.
mistakes with my contracts and understanding what I had to do out there.
And Jane, that's why you're successful because you're learning based. You want to continue to grow and get better and stay ahead of things. I say it all the time. If you're not growing,
Right.
you're dying. You can't stay still. I often talk about, I'm in the midst of a book myself, Jane, and one of my chapters is the dangers of
Oh,
stagnation,
that's good. Remind me of
right?
that book.
I mean,
Tell us about that too.
that is the worst thing that could ever happen. Stagnation will kill your health, your wealth, your well-being, your
Mhm.
marriage, any name it. Stagnation in any part of your life is never good.
Mhm. That's so
Um,
true. That is so true.
business because we're constantly
Yeah.
changing and evolving.
And
So it's
when
great.
you're at a standstill, you better talk to someone and figure it out because you can't
Yeah.
do it alone.
To your point, one more comment on that is, the ego
Oh,
has to go away.
completely.
The ego, oh, we say it all the time. We sit in a listing appointment. We're like, and I say this in confidence. I've pretty much seen everything, but I haven't seen anything because I'm.
Right?
And they're like, well, wait a minute. I'm like, no, no, no. Listen, I don't want you to be the one where we learn
Right.
something new, but but there is always something new out there. But in our experience, we have seen almost everything that can happen in a real estate transaction. We're going to keep you ahead of it. But again, if we're being honest, there's
Always
always some
something.
sort of wrinkle.
Always something.
I mean,
Especially,
Jane, yeah, it was a wild experience. We had a power of attorney, not to get
right.
all transactional, but power of attorney situation. And it was so sad. The mom was literally on her deathbed and they were trying to hustle to get the house
No,
sold
I
prior to
that
having to go.
too. Yeah.
They did in like a Wawa parking lot and like tried to get it all done. And then this poor girl had to go literally sign the paperwork and then go spend the last hour with her
Oh,
mom. Like that was the first for us yesterday. So in any event, not to get all
yeah.
down
I
in
get
the dumps. Things
it. Yeah, it
things
does.
happen. Changing, the best agents learn to adapt and overcome and move on the fly of what comes up. And like you said, all the buyers and sellers want to know is that we're there and we give them this big virtual hug that everything's going to be okay.
That's
We
right.
got you. We have you. Like we got you covered. And for the agents watching this, if they can get good at that, you're going to be incredibly
Incredibly
successful.
successful. And nobody has to really know but you. You don't have to go out and tell everybody.
No,
It's like you said, it's like the agents have become the stars, and I have no idea why. Because the star
yep.
is the property.
Because Jane, we're on TikTok.
Yeah, we can all do it now.
We live in a TikTok
Oh
world.
God.
It's TikTok, Instagram,
I
reels,
can't
and
even do a
whatnot.
TikTok. I get so confused. I've been on Instagram for a
I
while, but
getting on that, man. Like you guys do your dances and stuff, but I'll engage them once in a while. But I'm not out there.
I can't do it. I don't know what to do. I usually do exactly what I'm doing now. I get on and I talk to people and see what happens,
Yeah,
and it's really interesting what comes
yeah.
back. And like I said, it's so funny because when I did the podcast years ago, I remember someone recognizing me in the airport, which threw me for a loop because I thought he didn't look so good, and it made me nervous. And he came up to me. He was like, "Are you Jane?" And I was like, "No." I was
Oh,
in the airport and
right.
I was like, no.
Yeah.
He's like, are you sure? I recognize you from your hair because I have very big curly hair. And he
Okay.
said, I listened to your podcast. I was like, oh, wow. I said, that's really nice. I said, that's interesting. I got a little excited then. I was like, that's interesting.
I want to go talk a little bit. Can you get that in writing? Can you have a
At
little
that
review?
time, it was just audio, but I guess he would
Right.
see the
Oh, that,
thumbnails, So it was really
right.
interesting.
Uh,
That's what
but yeah,
people want.
we're not the heroes. Let our
Oh,
clients be the
absolutely.
heroes. And
I'm only the hero when I'm fighting with the attorney that's tanking
correct.
my deal, or the inspector that's
Mm-hmm.
giving me the if, ands, and buts instead of the facts. I'm very firm.
Exactly.
I laugh a lot and talk a lot until all of a sudden you don't see that smile and it's over. So, but
Uh,
I want to close out with one more question for you. I want to
sure.
ask you, what is your vision for the future of your career and personal life, and how do you plan to achieve that? Um, all the while staying true to yourself.
Yep. That's such a loaded
I
question, Jane. I love
know.
it. You know, um,
Leave my
the
people with
abrupt.
something significant.
I will. I will. I'm gonna leave the viewers with something. So we could talk hours on that, but the synopsis is, and it's weird. Maybe other people do it. I do it. I think about what will people say when I'm not here, when I'm gone, and it's a morbid thought, but I don't know anybody that's made it out of this life,
Right.
right? We're all ended up on a mantle or in a
Somewhere.
box or
Right.
somewhere. What do I want people to say about me, right? I know for my daughters, I know what I want them to say. And I want them to say that my dad was always there. I knew I could talk to him. He provided us every opportunity without giving us, but he provided us every opportunity to go to be who we wanted to be and always supported us. I want my wife to say I was always by her side and supportive, and she knew she had a true partner in life. I want my business partners to say that they could always trust me and knew I had back and back them in any right decision that we saw fitting moving forward. Career wise, I hope not just my partners, but I hope other agents in the industry that I've worked with for 10, 20, 30 years by the time this is all over to say he was always fair. He always worked hard. He always put his clients first. And he was always an amazing person to work with. You know, as far as numbers and career stuff, I really don't care. I don't need them to say he sold billions of
Yeah.
dollars in
Right.
real estate. I want the family to live in a home that I help them acquire or sell to say, wow, without his help, we wouldn't have had the life we had because we would be in a neighborhood where we met our best friends and we raised our kids together and were at our friends' kids' weddings. And you know, he really put us over the top to get us here because he provided us the information to make the decisions that we had to make. And
Don't forget
um,
he had cool hair too.
awesome hair. They called him Silver Fox. That dude was cool.
Don't
Uh,
forget that
uh,
part.
all that stuff. So, I just want to remember, as a hardworking, great guy who continued to put people ahead of themselves. Um, as far as our not short term, but the immediate future, something we're doing. I'm an investor as well. We are building out a boutique hotel brand right now. So the Philadelphia area a little bit. Out in Kennett Square, we have a hotel called the Bookhouse Hotel of Kennett, as a reader itself, where we have a small book house. We bought a bookstore and
Oh,
converted
wow.
it to a hotel, a boutique hotel, invisible service hotel, where we have an incredible. We've gone borderline viral on it because we have these authors come and sit with us, and then they Instagram it out to all their people, and it's awesome. So
Fantastic.
currently working one in we're working on we have 3 weeks down. I'll be going there as soon as we get off here. We're opening our second location. It's going to be called the Bookhouse at Fawnbrook in Westchester, right outside the borough,
Wow, interesting.
where 100-person weddings or events. It's the same theme, and then we've launched the book subscription business as a byproduct of what we're building out on the brand. So we're really excited about that. So when you talked about like creative, you know, with your passion and ambition and stuff. It's really neat to be able to work with people on a daily basis in the service, but then have these creative ideas and do that in almost a separate life, right? Now they merge because they're all real estate related.
Absolutely.
It's really neat. It's really neat. So I would say, in closing to anybody listening to this or watching this, try to find out who you are and unpack it, much like you and I have done and continue to do, right? This is not a one-time
No.
deal, right? We are not the same people we are when we're 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. And we're still at our core and our authenticity. We're the same people, but we evolve, adapt, and get
That's what we
better.
do.
My advice to everyone listening to this and who's good enough to follow you, and this has been amazing to get to know
Thank
you a little
you.
bit. Figure out who you are.
100%.
Get the team around you to help you remain who you are and help you succeed. And the sky is the limit if you continue to, whatever industry you're in. Real estate's great, but whatever industry you're in, put the right people around you, the supportive people, the people that aren't on your coattails, but they're walking next to you, right? Helping you, maybe they get a little ahead of you to help push you. Don't get stagnant. Work hard, give back, and keep watching Jane
Yes, keep
Bond.
watching Unpack Your Life because I'm
Oh,
going to help you.
let's
Yeah.
go.
Oh, I think that's fantastic about Book House. You said it's right off of Kenneth Square?
Yeah, we're right in downtown Kennett, which is awesome because people can drop their bag on a Friday at 2
Okay.
o'clock, walk up to happy hour, walk down to the creamery, Victory Brewing, have dinner, pick up the shuttle to Longwood
Yeah, that's
Gardens,
right.
Way, which is a national treasure that people don't really know. A lot of people don't know about it. And then with the expansion in Westchester, it's awesome. So yeah, look us up, the Book House Hotel. We are expanding. We're looking for new locations, and we're really excited about
Yeah,
it.
I love this Book House Hotel concept.
It's
Yeah,
cool. Get
send me
out.
some information on it. I'll push it out there. I mean, I think I have like maybe
It'll,
50,000 people on my gram.
yeah,
Send me some information. I haven't been on the gram in like a year because I've
yeah,
been
I'll send it out.
unpacking. I will be
Yeah,
changing everything probably this week sometime. Send me a little
nice.
clip of Book,
I will.
and I'll put
I
it out
will.
there for you because people, a lot of people know that I'm back in Philadelphia and I'm
Yeah,
exploring the city. I love Philadelphia. I don't care what anybody
it's
says.
fun.
Oh, Jane, you got to be
No,
safe. Why are you walking around at night? I'm like, I love it here. It's better than New York
phenomenal.
City. Trust me. Oh, sorry, New Yorkers. I
Yeah.
love New York too. I'm coming back. Don't
No,
worry. So,
we're it up. Philly's going to get cleaned up again. Everything's cyclical. We'll be back, and we'll be safe, and everything will be okay, and we'll be back to using our history to our
oh,
advantage. So many historical landmarks and just so many cool different
oh
spots in our
God, Philly
wonderful.
is so cool to me. I don't know
It is.
if it's because I'm older, but when I'm walking around downtown here, I'm just like blown away. And real estate, of course, I'm looking at all the beautiful real estate they have here now. It's just
Yeah.
amazing because I just came back here in June. So I'm
Okay,
really
cool.
excited. I went to see that little portal yesterday and spoke to someone that was in
Yeah,
Ireland.
I didn't. I think. But Jane, what's cool, right? Like you can't have new old buildings.
Right.
We have old buildings here. We have 200-year-old buildings.
Exactly.
It's three
We're one of the
unbelievable to
oldest
see the.
cities in the country, besides, which I never got to, Augustine, St. Augustine. I didn't go
Yep.
there. But
Yep.
even when I'm in New York, looking at some of those buildings, I am just so blown away. It's just beautiful,
I,
you know,
all it proves that humans can literally do whatever they want to
whatever
do
they
with their
want to
mind.
do, whatever little spot we have, we're building and building. And I love it. I think hey, it's the American way.
Absolutely. Well, this was great, Jane. This was a pleasure. We'll do
Absolutely.
it
Tell
again.
my audience, Stephen, where to find you, and make sure you tell them because you definitely will find them from the hair, guys. But this is the silver
Right.
fox.
Google first one to
We got
pop
the
up.
silver
No.
fox of KW, guys, in Westchester.
On Instagram at Tallon
Okay.
RE.
I'm
TALONRE.
following you
So
right now for myself. Okay.
yep, you can Book House Hotel. We'll pop right up at the top because we got a lot of traction on the interwebs. It's going really well, and we're excited
I'm
about that.
excited
So,
for you. I think it's a great concept, and this is what we
as
do.
we talk about, being a niche and stuff, who better to come stay at your hotel than readers? We have not had one noise call in the year and a half that we've been open, not one. It's amazing. People come, they read their books, they take advantage of what Kennett Square has to offer. They're going to do the same in Westchester Borough, and who knows where the next one's going to be. But
Absolutely.
it's
Yeah, I'm into that. I'm an avid reader also, so definitely. Yeah,
check
I
us.
will. It's so nice talking to
Awesome.
you, Stephen. I can't wait to talk to you again. I will be calling on you again as we go further into the show. And
Absolutely.
lovely to see you. Lovely to meet you.
You
Hey,
too. Thanks so much.
all
Take
right.
care.
Bye-bye.